Welcome, everyone! Welcome to another episode of Jori Magic. In this video, we're going to talk about the Kabbalah and just decoding each Sephora of the Tree of Life. So the first Sephora is at the top of the tree, and that's Kether. And that is the crown chakra, which is above my head, and that is will. Nothingness. So there's nothing there at Kether. And then you come down to Chokmah, and Chokmah is the first thought that springs into the mind, and that comes from nothingness. So Kether is the thought that comes from nothing. So Kether is the will. And then you go to Chokmah, and that is the first thought. There's nothing that came before the first thought. It just comes from nothing. Then you go over and you go to Bina. And those are the ramifications of that thought that springed in your mind. What is going to become? What would happen if that thought was manifest and took upon flesh and came into the world? What would the ramifications of that be? Like, I could say the first thought that springs into my mind is, once my Bitcoin money pays off, I'm going to knock down every single church with a wrecking ball. So that's the first thought that springs into the mind. And that's Chokmah. But where did that thought come from? It came from before the nothingness, and that is Kether. That is the I am. I am can be anything. Kether is the crown. It is the will. So let's say that the first thought that pops into my mind is, I'm going to knock down all the churches with a wrecking ball. So what happened? I went to many different churches, and then I realized that all these motherfuckers were hypocrites, and they're in cults. And no one read the book that their religion was supposed to be based upon. They all believed crazy fucking shit, and are retarded, because they should know by now. They're old. They're old. There should be some sort of knowledge within these people, but there's not. And see, these things have caused that first thought to spring into my mind, like, the kingdom of God is taken from them and given to a nation, bringing forth the fruits thereof. They're not doing their fucking job. They're just doing their Sunday services and getting all these followers to just get people to put the money in the fucking baskets. Because money is the root of all evil, right? It's not a root of many kinds of evil. It's the root, right? All this fucking evil is tied into the money, and the devil is the word evil with a D slapped on the front of it. Slap that ass. Slap that motherfucking ass. So I got Chokmah, and that is the first thought that springs into my mind. And I'm going to knock down all these fucking churches because they're not doing their job. They're lying to people. And this is where the great ignorance comes from. Having these motherfucking churches on every goddamn corner. And what is the ramifications of that by now? The ramifications of knocking down these motherfucking churches, if it would happen. Well, people wouldn't have anywhere to worship. And that's why you do this shit 3 times a week, so it gets ingrained in your fucking mind. So if people just stop going, well, then it's going to wear off, and there may be some light that shines through. The light from Amen Ra the Egyptian sun god might shine through their mind and they'll be like, wait a second, what the fuck is going on? Meditate, clear your mind, take no thought, enter into a fucking closet and enter into the kingdom of God, which is in you, bitch. The kingdom of God is within you. So once people do that, then it's a good thing that all these fucking churches are knocked down, because people are not getting programmed with lies 3 times a week. So that's the ramifications of it. That's Binah. And then Dath is when the thought takes upon flesh. When it really fucking happens. You could hear about a philosophy and this and that all day, but then you keep on hearing it every single fucking day. Every fucking day, it starts to take upon flesh and then clicking in your mind, and then there comes a point where you're like, I'm gonna fucking act. I'm gonna put this shit in the movement, man. I'm acting upon the thought, because it takes upon flesh. You're like, I can't sit idle anymore. I actually have to start moving. Because if I don't move, then it's a lack of faith. And I better get my shit together and get it all locked in. So Dath is when you keep on hearing the philosophy and you may believe it 100%. But then there's one day when it fucking really grabs you by the balls and then you just do it. And then there is chesed, or chaste. Chesed, on the tree of life over here. And that is the first action without expecting anything in return. So if you're working a job, you know, I'm going to work this certain amount of hours and then I'm going to get money in return. Well, that is a cause that came before it. But chesed is just, I'm just doing something good for you, and you haven't did anything for me before. Or I leave you a fucking donation, I don't even tell you who it's from, because there's no prior act. I'm not expecting anything. I don't want any kickback, okay? Chesed, up in this motherfucker. I'm doing it out of the good of my heart. I'm lending and I'm expecting nothing in return. And then there is Javora. And Javora is saying, I want this motherfucker to fend for himself, and I don't want to just do everything and then take care of this dude so that he can't do anything for himself. Dude don't even know how to wipe his own fucking ass. Because I've been wiping his ass his whole fucking life. So you want people like that one saying, you feed a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man to fish, he eats for a fucking lifetime. So we're teaching the knowledge so people can apply it on their own and be independent and fucking strong. And there's no such thing as complete independence, because we all need each other to come along. But we don't want to be whoring ourselves out to a fucking slave master and then getting a check every week either. But then not independent in a way where we still need to rely on other people, because then that's where the success comes from. Fucking rendering service unto others. Loving one another. So Javora is putting it in a way where you don't want to do everything for the person. Like Chesed is doing a good act to somebody and not expecting nothing in return. But if you do it all the time for them, then it becomes crippling and then that person can't do shit. That's why you want to teach the information to the people and make them independent and strong. So then if something happened to you, and let's say a fucking fiery chariot swoops down and then carries you up into heaven And then everyone's like, what the fuck are we going to do now? They're going to be able to do what you did because you gave them the knowledge. So then they can apply it. And not everything is resting on your head. People aren't completely reliant upon you cooking them their fucking hash browns in the morning. You're able to cook the shit for yourself. And that's Javora. And then there is Tifereth, which is the best interest of the human being. So you're combining Chesed, Chaste, and Javora. And you're putting these two together. Kindness, not expecting anything in return, but then doing it in a way where it doesn't cripple this fucking person and the person can still fend for himself and then go out into the world and then be able to be one with this world and fucking survive and then don't end up just fucking himself. He don't know anything because you did everything for him his whole life. If you just gave people fucking chesed, constantly, well then they ain't gonna be able to do shit. That's why you gotta mix some Javora in it and then teach people the skills so they can do it themselves. So Tifereth is the best interest of the human being, and then you're combining both Chase, and Javora. Then we have Netzach. And that's like these fucking people like me that goes through hell his whole fucking life, but then it makes him a stronger person, and then at the end of it all, he is able to keep his riches and conquer this motherfucker. And then you have Had, and that could be someone that just getting everything in the now. Just fucking steal, kill, and destroy. Who gives a fuck? Rape and pillage and gather up all these fucking riches. But then in the end, with the Had, he ends up losing it all. He ends up losing all his shit. And you go down to Yesod, and Yesod is like, you want to know what your enemy's doing. You want to balance the masculine and the feminine, the yin and the yang, the light and the dark, the good and the evil, the God and the devil. You want to balance all this shit as above, so below, making the physical plane conform to the heavenly realms, and knowing that everything that you think manifests into the world and becomes a physical entity. If you just entertain that thought long enough and believe, just have a little mustard seed of faith, it will take upon flesh and become one in the world and manifest in your physical fucking world. So Yesod is like you're the speaker and you're the listener. You need to put yourself in the shoes of the listener. What is he actually hearing? Then you go down to the base chakra, Malkuth. And Malkuth is going by the laws of nature just because you know that it's right. People want to obey the king because he's a dictator. He's like, motherfucker, do this. Motherfucker, do that. But then you don't want to. You want to rebel. You're like, what? Who the fuck is this dude telling me to do all this shit? But then if the laws are correct and the laws of the universe are correct, and we're like, yes, I shouldn't be drinking all the time because it fucks me up. And if I eat animal meat, it fucks me up. If I eat too much bread, it makes me constipated. So I agree with the laws of the universe, and then I just automatically want to obey the laws of God. And I am God. I am the fucking creator. Don't get your panties all fucking poofed up saying, oh, he's trying to preach to me. You know, motherfuckers in these churches, they're the ones that made the shit bad. But it's really a good book, but when you use it to control people, it becomes a very, very bad thing. So Malkuth is when you obey the laws of nature, the laws of God, and you just do it because that's what your laws agree with his or hers. God, goddess, who gives a fuck? So my laws agree with the universe. My laws agree with God. And you don't have to put a fucking dictator, you gotta listen to me no matter what. Because then it makes me want to disobey and be like, fuck you. Fuck you, man. See, but if I truly agree with the laws of the universe, that's Malkuth. And that's the base chakra of the bottom of the tree of life. So I just went through the 10 or 12 Sephiroth of the tree of life in the Kabbalah. So that's a little explanation of what this shit really means. And then we could break it down and just keep on digging deeper. And then eventually we'll be fucking geniuses. And then I'm already a fucking genius. Anyone who watches my videos is a fucking genius. Alright. This is the Kabbalah. The Tree of Life. Basic introduction. Short explanation. With Jori Richard. On the new channel, Jori Magic. Episode number 4. Thank you for watching.